But I have something to say to you! Marty!
For decades, fans believed they understood professional wrestling. Heroes, villains, champions. But behind the scenes, one man quietly shaped the entire story. Not with muscles, not with championships, with words. Because in WWE, narratives decide everything. And no one manipulates narratives better than Paul Heyman. The question is simple. Is he just a manager? Or the most powerful storyteller in wrestling history? Long before he stood beside champions, Paul Heyman was just a teenager with a camera. In the late 1970s, Heyman began working as a ringside photographer in New York, wrestling promotions. He wasn't a wrestler. He wasn't a promoter. He was a fan, obsessed with the business. But Heyman quickly realized something important. Wrestling wasn't just about fighting. It was about controlling the story fans believed. By the mid-1980s, Heyman entered wrestling television as Paul E. Dangerously. He managed wrestlers in American Wrestling Association and later in World Championship Wrestling. He wore suits, carried a giant cell phone, and delivered promos that felt different. Sharper, smarter, more dangerous. But the real revolution was still coming. In the early 1990s, Paul Heyman took control of a small struggling promotion. Its name was Extreme Championship Wrestling. And everything changed. Instead of traditional wrestling storytelling, Heyman introduced something radical. Reality. ECW blurred the line between fiction and truth. Wrestlers mentioned real rivalries, real frustrations, real backstage politics. Fans felt like they were seeing something forbidden. ECW quickly became the most rebellious promotion in wrestling. Future legends passed through its doors, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Foley, and Rob Van Dam. Heyman didn't just book matches. He crafted narratives fans believed were real. But then everything changed. By the late 1990s, ECW had influence, but not financial stability. The wrestling world was dominated by World Wrestling Federation and WCW. Television deals became harder. Costs kept rising. And in 2001, ECW collapsed. The company filed for bankruptcy. For many promoters, that would have been the end. But for Paul Heyman, it became a new chapter. Because the biggest wrestling company in the world was watching. Soon after ECW closed, Paul Heyman joined WWE. At first, he became a commentator. But his true power returned when he became a manager. In 2002, Heyman aligned himself with a young powerhouse named Brock Lesnar. Lesnar had the strength. Heyman had the voice. Together, they created one of WWE's most dominant characters. Heyman didn't just introduce Lesnar. He sold the myth. Every promo built a narrative. Every speech made Lesnar feel unstoppable. But that was only the beginning. Years later, Heyman would stand beside another dominant force, a man called Roman Reigns. And once again, the narrative shifted. By the late 2010s, Roman Reigns faced a serious challenge. Fans rejected him as the company's top hero. Crowds booed him. Criticism grew louder. Then in 2020, everything changed. Roman Reigns returned to WWE television with a new character, a darker personality. a ruthless champion. Standing beside him was Paul Heyman. And suddenly, the story worked. Reigns became the tribal chief. Heyman became the advisor. Their alliance created one of the most successful storylines in modern WWE. No one saw it coming. The partnership between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman helped define WWE's modern era. Promos felt cinematic. Conflicts felt personal. And Heyman's words built tension week after week. He didn't just speak. He controlled the narrative. Fans debated every segment, every betrayal, every alliance. And suddenly, Heyman was once again at the center of wrestling storytelling. Very few people in wrestling history changed the industry the way Paul Heyman did. As the creative force behind Extreme Championship Wrestling, he influenced an entire generation of wrestlers. As a manager in WWE, he helped shape some of the most dominant champions. From Brock Lesnar to Roman Reigns, Heyman proved something unique. In professional wrestling, power isn't always physical. Sometimes, power is the ability to control the story everyone believes. Because championships may define careers, but in WWE history, the people who control the narrative control everything. And few have ever done it better than Paul Heyman.